So hello, today I am going to discuss one of the most debated topic of our time about Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who was India's first Prime Minister. He is often discredited for his indecision regarding the Kashmir issue. He has taken the issue, or he had taken the issue to the international forum called UN Security Council. For the first time, he had made the Kashmir issue international, and that's why in present time our ministers or our present government members always criticize Mr. Nehru. And I don't want to conclude anything about this indecision or about his criticism. I just want to put some facts, some true facts which came out of post-independent history about Nehru and the Kashmir issue. Okay, so let's discuss, did Nehru mishandle Kashmir? Okay, so it is a layman's answer that yes, Nehru mishandled Kashmir. Nehru made Kashmir a choke point for India, okay, and made the debate of Kashmir issue into the international forum, okay. So it's a layman's term that yes, it will be yes that Nehru mishandled Kashmir. Even when we go to see that that approach of recent government ministers, Kiren Rijiju, who has recently accused Nehru of its indecision when Maharaja Hari Singh, who was Maharaja Hari Singh? That time Maharaja Hari Singh was the monarch of Kashmir. The Kashmir was predominantly a Muslim populated state, and the Maharaja was himself a Hindu. So Kiren Rijiju recently accused Nehru of indecision when Maharaja Hari Singh proposed the merger of Jammu and Kashmir with Indian dominion as early as in July 1947. This is the picture of Maharaja Hari Singh. In fact, it was the Maharaja whose mind wavered on the question of accession, as attested by diplomats, historians, and Maharaja's own son, Karan Singh. So he wavered his mind between the question of accession to the Indian Union or to the Pakistan Union or being independent. Accordingly, in Indian history, whatever we have learned, that when British left India, the princely states was gave such freedom to be part of any of the part or remain independent. Any of the part, by that I want to mean India or Pakistan, or it can also claim itself independent part without joining any of the union, such as India or Pakistan. So Kashmir was a topic. Kashmir was an issue for India and Pakistan. Means Hari Singh was not interested to join India at that point of time. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, whose legacy the government has now appropriated to discredit Nehru, tried to convince Liaquat Ali Khan of Pakistan in the Partition Council to take Kashmir and leave Hyderabad Deccan. So Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel wanted Kashmir to be part of Pakistan even at the cost of Hyderabad Deccan. In her book Kashmir in Conflict, Victoria Schofield says that even Mountbatten's political advisor Sir Conrad Corfield recommended a barter, but anything that Corfield said carried no weight against the long-standing determination of Nehru to keep Kashmir in India. So next I should come to the Gurudaspur question. History attests to Nehru's clear political vision and careful planning vis-a-vis Kashmir. So he was careful rather than just thinking that Kashmir is not a part of India or to go it easily with Pakistan. So he was a little bit more careful than the present government members says. So on August 12, 1947, whereas Pakistan signed a standstill agreement with the Maharaja, India did not sign the standstill agreement. Means India inherently wanted Kashmir to be part of India from the very beginning. The awarding of Muslim majority Gurdaspur district to India is often attributed to Nehru's political expediency, particularly by Pakistani historians who had long suspected complicity between Nehru and Mountbatten, though others such as British historian Victoria Schofield attached geographical reasons for it. At that time, Kashmir could be reached through three main routes. What are the three main routes? The first via Rawalpindi, Muzaffarabad, Baramulla and then Srinagar. The second through Sialkot, Jammu and then the Banihal Pass. The third through Amritsar, Gurudaspur and then Pathankot. Military experts of the time contend that if the whole Gurudaspur or even its three Muslim dominated tehsils had gone to Pakistan, the maintenance of Indian troops in Kashmir would have been extremely difficult case in that scenario. So the 73 independence of Kashmir, what happened in that 73 days? During the 73 days when Kashmir was independent, Kashmir wanted that Maharaja Hari Singh even wanted to be independent or not to join even in India or Pakistan. So during that time of independence, from August 15 to October 26, 1947, measures were taken to upgrade the communication between India and Jammu and Kashmir by Pandit Nehru. So this included the metalling of the road from Jammu to Kathua so that essential supplies or troops could be rushed to Kashmir from the Indian territory in case of any emergency as such. Nothing suggests an inaction on Nehru's part or in fact India's part. So there was no kind of inaction from India's side. Next, if we turn to the next portion, next part of this process. So if we focus on that, after 73 days of the independence of Kashmir, then Kashmir was a complex society in such. Kashmiri society was a complex society, and Kashmir was in fact a complex terrain in that case. An inherently feudalistic society with a wide economic gap between the ruling Dogra and Pandit elites with the impoverished Muslim majority. I earlier said that the Kashmir was inherently Muslim state. The population of the Kashmir was majority lived by Muslim population. So most of the peasants were landless tillers, and 50 to 75% of them the produce went to the Dogra rulers. So the Dogra rulers enjoyed the majority of production of those landless tillers, and the Dogras had also reintroduced the Beggar system, that is the forced labor system. The Muslim majority's natural affinity for Pakistan was apparent when on August 14, 15, 1947, Pakistani flag was even hoisted atop most of the post offices in Kashmir, because the Pakistan was a Muslim religious state, Islamic state as such. But India was a secular country in that case. Okay. So in the next scenario, if we want to see what the complexity, come to be more problematic in that case. So Nehru and Sheikh Abdullah's relation, we should see that in that unruly landscape, Nehru needed an ally who would give a veneer of legitimacy to India's claim on Kashmir. Who was Sheikh Abdullah? Sheikh Abdullah was the Prime Minister of Kashmir at that point of time. He turned to Sheikh Abdullah of the National Conference, who believed that it was by partnering with the secular and socialist leadership of India that he could explore ways to end Kashmir's autocracy and mitigate wide-scale economic deprivation. The economic deprivation that had been faced by the Muslim majority population or landless laborers by the Dogra or Pandit elites. Nehru tapped into that sentiment. When Sheikh Abdullah was in prison, Nehru attempted to visit Kashmir by July 1946 to defend him in his trial. When he was denied entry to the state, he even stood at the border for 5 hours also. That's the approach of Prime Minister. If India had relied solely on Maharaja's will, means Maharaja Hari Singh's will, without securing allegiance of Kashmir's tallest leader Sheikh Abdullah, it would have invariably legitimized the will of the Nizam of Hyderabad, who was determined to remain independent despite the fact that his state's population was mostly Hindu. The same dilemma was true in Junagadh. You all know these three princely states, means the Hyderabad, the Junagadh, and the Jammu and Kashmir, or the Kashmir as per se, are the most difficult princely states at the post-independence India phase, when India tried to convince them to join in the Union of India. They all tried to be independent or keep their independence at any cost at that point of time. So why did Nehru refer the situation in Jammu and Kashmir to the United Nations? Nehru referred the situation in Jammu and Kashmir to the United Nations even after the Maharaja signed the Instrument of Accession with India. Instrument of Accession means then from that time Article 370 comes into picture. Okay, came into picture. Or the instrument of, after the Instrument of Accession, India will send its troops to the Kashmir when Pakistan attacked Kashmir, or Pakistan tried to take the independence of Kashmir by force. Former External Affairs Minister Yashwant Sinha said, no doubt it was a mistake. But think of what would happen if India had not. What if Pakistan had gone to UN first? So that's the External Affairs Minister Yashwant Sinha said. Okay, so he defended Nehru's approach of going to the United Nations. Mountbatten was among those who advocated a UN monitored solution, and Nehru had no reason to doubt his sagacity. Okay, you all know the close relation between the Jawaharlal Nehru and Mountbatten. So there was no, according to Rajiv Dogra, who has written the book called India's World and How Prime Minister Shaped India's Foreign Policy. According to him, there is no way Pakistan could have done this. Means Pakistan couldn't approach UN for the first time if India had not. After all, Pakistan was the aggressor in Kashmir. You have to remind the fact that Pakistan attacked Kashmir by its force. And the entire point in this reference to the UN was the aggression should be vacated at that point of time. It was not the apprehension that Pakistan may preempt India and approach the UN that forced Nehru's hand. Instead, British machinations in favor of Pakistan did the trick. In pursuance of that plan, Mountbatten convinced Nehru that it was morally the right course to make the reference to the world body. It was Nehru's fault that he succumbed, according to Rajiv Dogra. Okay, it was not my statement, it was the statement came from Rajiv Dogra in his book. So what is the role of Mountbatten in that case? According to some scholars, Mountbatten's insistence on accession before military assistance to Jammu and Kashmir was designed to suit the Indian interest. That he wanted to prove that he was working for India's interest, as he was the close friend of Nehru at that point of time. In another instance, according to George Cunningham, the then governor of Northwest Frontier Province, when Sir Frank Messervy, the commander-in-chief of Pakistani army, visited Delhi, he found Mountbatten directing the military operations in Kashmir and noted Mountbatten is daily becoming more and more anathema to our Muslims. Okay, the reason why India was eventually laid down by the UK and the US in United Nations Security Council would be, as Jashwant Sinha put it, the world powers having created Israel, perceived as an anti-Muslim state, had to set the optics right. Okay, so there was a large issue in that case. You have to must come with that. India, in even issue or Kashmir issue, if you want to discuss, the government of India requested the Security Council, therefore, to ask government of Pakistan to prevent Pakistan government personnel, military and civil participating in or assisting in any invasion of J&K, that is Jammu and Kashmir state. One, to call upon other Pakistan nationals to desist from taking any part in the fighting in the J&K state, to deny the invaders, number one, access to and use of its territory. Use territory means Pakistani territory for operations against Kashmir, military and any other supplies from Kashmir, and all other kinds of aid that might tend to prolong the present struggle. Sadly, the passage of history has obscured this important fact. Pakistan taken full advantage of this amnesia to claim the very fact that Nehru had made a reference to the UN that Kashmir is a disputed territory. Okay, so in a speech in the parliament on 28th March 1951, Nehru reverted to the theme that had been troubling him and the entire nation. The accession of Kashmir to India is entirely in conformity with the Indian Independence Act. It is also fully in accordance with the all that happened in the case of other princely states which acceded to India, because at that point of time Junagadh and Hyderabad of Nizam was part of India, accessed with the Union of India. And we didn't ask the UN to adjust the validity of Kashmir's accession or to determine where the sovereignty lay. We didn't ask that, according to Nehru. We did not seek arbitration, but we went them to complain about aggression by Pakistan, which we thought might jeopardize world peace. The UN took advantage of our initiative in our referring the matters to them and thus enlarged the scope of their inquiry. You all know that after this event, UN has called for a referendum among the Kashmiri people. Until now, neither the UN Commission nor the Security Council has suggested that the accession was open to the question. So, according to Rajiv Dogra, it is a cardinal principle of diplomacy that once you bring your dispute out in the open, the busy bodies of the world will take over it. anyone and everyone feels free to interject. It happened in the Kashmir issue too. The US at first, because of nagging by UK and later due to military pacts it had signed with Pakistan, began to take increasing interest in the Indo-Pak affairs. It irritated Nehru so much that he had to bluntly tell the US ambassador that he was even tired of receiving moral advice from the US. So Nehru went on to warn that he would not back down even if Kashmir, India and the whole world go into pieces. So at the end, Nehru could understand his mistake, because UN made the Kashmir issue a larger topic and as an international topic. Okay, so that was my short discussion about Nehru's handling or mishandling Kashmir. I hope you liked the session. Please stay tuned with me. We'll come back in our next video. Thank you for attending the session. Keep yourself healthy, mentally and physically fit. Okay, bye bye.